Hello, welcome to today's video. Today I'd like to share with you the 3 books that I read in May. Here they are. One of them is super burnt. I did leave it on a windowsill a few years ago. That's totally on me. None of these books were on my TBR, but if you know me, that shouldn't be surprising. I have had a good reading month. 2 of these were rereads, but we're going to start with the one new book that I read this month, and that is Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher. This book was absolutely wonderful. This book is set a while after Arthurian legend is supposed to be set. The 2 main characters, Gwen and Art, are named after the characters from Arthurian legend and have to struggle with what that kind of means for themselves and the legacy that comes with that. But they are betrothed, and neither of them want that. They don't like each other. But Arthur is in Camelot for the summer, and who knows what'll happen. I love the tagline on the front of this book, "The path to true love never did run straight." That sums up the entire story. The book really kicked off when Gwen and Art kind of blackmailed each other with information about each other that could ruin their reputations and lives, essentially. So they kind of team up to appease their families and also live the lives that they want. I really loved both main characters. They're both point of view characters, and I really enjoyed both of their perspectives. I wasn't, waiting to be back with a different character, which is good. Gwen's love interest, Bridget, was like maybe my favorite character. I really love like lady knights in stories. She's wonderful. I also loved Gabe, who is Gwen's brother and Arthur's love interest, who was just wonderful. I loved this book so much. I read this super quickly, like in a couple of days. It was one of those books that just kept me like really engaged, and I was putting off my responsibilities to read, which doesn't happen very often anymore, and was wonderful for me, not my responsibilities. That caused some problems, but there was one day in particular, it was super grey outside and rainy, and I just sat reading for hours and hours, and it was wonderful. And this book now holds a very special place in my heart, and I love it, and I think everybody should read it. I think I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The whole thing was really enjoyable, but the end felt a bit rushed to me. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I feel like the kind of climax of the story could have gone a little longer. I feel like we just kind of ended. I feel like the resolution kind of just came, and I would have liked to spend a little bit more time working for it. But with that said, I still really loved this book. I'm sorry for the lighting. It is a cloudy day, but the sun keeps coming out and my camera doesn't know what it's doing, so my apologies. I'm going to talk about the other 2 books I read this month together because they are from the same series, and that is Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. If you know me, you know I love Cassandra Clare. You may also know that The Dark Artificers is my favourite Cassandra Clare series. That's something I've been saying, but I haven't reread it for quite a while, so I thought I'd better do that to know if I really stand by that, and at this point, I think I do stand by that. I love these books so much. Starting with Lady Midnight, I think it's a great introduction to all these new characters. There are a lot of characters in this book. It's definitely like an ensemble story. You could say that Emma is the main character, but I really think the ensemble is what makes this story. We're introduced to so many characters so quickly, but they all feel very like unique and individual, and I absolutely loved it. I'll be honest, this is the kind of series that I just adore the characters from, and the plot kind of falls to the sidelines for me, but the plot is still super engaging and fun, and I forgot that, but rereading it really did remind me. I love the Midnight Theatre plotline. I love the villain in this story. It's such an interesting take on a villain. I love the villain in this story. In the first book, there is very much a villain. There is a character that is the antagonist, but in the rest of the series, I feel like there's more of an antagonistic force rather than an individual antagonist, if that makes any sense. Lord of Shadows might be my favorite Cassandra Clare book ever. I finished reading it last night actually, and I'm still dealing with that. When I picked it up to reread it, I knew how it ended, I remembered, I thought, okay, we'll get there when we get there. I got there last night and I'll be honest, I completely forgot it was coming. I really love this book. I think that it develops the characters in a really interesting way and it makes you love them so much, even ones that you might not have been sure about in the first book. I like that even the main characters and the people you're supposed to root for are kind of morally grey at times. I think that the difference between a hero and a villain is generally that a hero will do whatever it takes to save the world and a villain will do whatever it takes to save the people they care about. And some of the main characters in this book are really like stepping into villain territory and I kind of love that. But again, this is a book that is what it is because of the ensemble. I absolutely love the dynamic that forms between Christina, Mark and Kieran in this book. I love them. They are some of my favorite characters. They are my favorite love triangle in a book because they are an actual triangle. One of my favorite sets of side characters from a book is Ty, Livy and Kit. I adore them so much. This reread really made me fall in love with Livy as a character. I feel like in the past I have kind of focused more on Kit and Ty because Kit is one of the most relatable fictional characters I think I've ever read, but Livy really shone in this reread for me and that was just so good. I love Drusilla's character in this and seeing her be a bit more of an individual. I'm really excited for the Wicked Powers, which she is apparently going to be more a part of. I feel like I'm just saying like I love this and I love that, but I really do love a lot of aspects of this book, so I'm gonna keep going. I love seeing the characters from the Mortal Instruments in this book. I haven't made it any secret that I'm not the biggest fan of the Mortal Instruments, but I do like the characters. I think the story was just not for me. But seeing Magnus and Alec show up in this was really wonderful. Seeing Jace and Clary going on their little adventure was also really fun. I love this book. We also get the first interaction with the character Ash, who I remember theorizing so hard about back before Queen of Air and Darkness came out. I'm just having a really good time rereading this series that I used to love so much. This was my favorite series of all time. I had reread it so many times in the lead up to Queen of Air and Darkness, and I'm really excited to be up to Queen of Air and Darkness in my reread. I'm just having a really good time. One of my favorite quotes is in Lord of Shadows, and I thought I'd read it to you because I actually used it as inspiration for an artwork back when I was in high school. It's one of those quotes that just has really stuck with me and it's like beautiful and I love it, and so I'm gonna share it. "There is truth in stories," said Arthur. "There is truth in one of your paintings, boy, or in a sunset or a couplet from Homer. Fiction is truth even if it is not fact. If you believe only in facts and forget stories, your brain will live but your heart will die." I love this book. Okay, so I'm done talking about it, but I do also just want to say that I love Julian as a love interest. I like that he is a bit softer. He is also like vicious and kind of terrifying when it comes to protecting his family, but he also is like very soft. He is a caregiver and I love that because honestly, I'm really sick of like hyper masculine love interests in books, especially like fantasy and stuff. So yeah, more soft Julian Blackthorn type love interests, please, thank you. Moving on. Those are all the books that I read in May. I have not been reading as much as I would like to be. My goal is 50 books a year, which is around 1 a week or 4 to 5 a month, which I have not been achieving. This month I read 3 books, so that already puts me behind, and I've been reading 3 or even 2 books in previous months, so I'm definitely falling behind. I am really excited to read next month. I'm excited about my TBR, which will be linked below if you'd like to see that, but I'm looking forward to reading. I'm in a place where like I actually want to be reading, which is really nice actually. I feel like as a reader sometimes I have these phases of just like not wanting to read, not necessarily slumps, but just like indifference almost, which is kind of worse than a slump. But I did a readathon a few months ago, which I really enjoyed and really like made me read. So I'm thinking about doing another one of those. If you'd like to see my last one, that'll also be linked. Wow, just linking everything today. But I just want to read. I want to engage in story again. And so yes, that's that. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up. I upload twice a week, so you can subscribe to see that. If you'd like to see a future readathon, let me know and I will do that because again, any encouragement makes me do it, so let me know. But that's all I've got time for. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hi, welcome to today's video. Today I'd like to share with you the books that I read in that's not a month. Wow.